Where did the idea for Darkstars come from?
Well, Darkstars, I actually went into DC on my birthday, and believe me, there was nothing better than going into DC. So I figured
Yeah.
that alone was a birthday
No,
present,
I've been there. I know. It's like
right?
it's like
Right?
you're a kid in a candy store. You see all these toys. You see like the comic books everywhere. They have the spinner racks. They have like giant murals on every single window, and you're like, wow, this is like a fantasy.
Right, right. Just the fact that they let me come up in the elevator and stand there in the hallway would have been enough.
Exactly.
But I figured, well, I'm coming in anyway, and Bob Greenberger, who I mentioned, and Brian Augustin, who is the editor of The Flash, were friends of mine, and they were going to take me out to lunch at Mickey Mantle's restaurant. So just when you think it can't get any better, it gets better. And I said, well, I'm up there anyway, so let me pitch a couple of stories. So I went into to the Justice League editor and I said, I'd like to do a Martian Manhunter story. He goes, we got so much inventory on Martian Manhunter solo stories. And I said, well, I'd like to do a Green Lantern story. He goes, wow, we've got so much inventory on Green Lantern. I was like, all right, okay, I get it. And but those were two of my favorite superheroes at DC growing up. And I said, boy, gee, it would someday I'll do a Green Lantern story or a Martian Manhunter story. And so anyway, I go to lunch with Bob and Brian, and they could see I'm a little disappointed. And it's my birthday, right? So they said, well, what is it about those characters that you really like? And I was talking about, Green Lantern and how he was part of this corps that was sort of, when you first met him, you didn't realize he was there was a lantern on every civilized world.
Yeah, he's part of this whole collective, and this spans all of space and time. And
right? And I thought that was cool, and that made him a little different from other characters. And then the Martian Manhunter was kind of the last of his kind. He was lonely. He had superpowers that were very much like Superman's, but he was bald and green and just not as popular, and that appealed to me. I like people and things that are just not that popular and probably should be.
Yeah.
So so they said, well, so what if you were to put Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter together? What would you get? And I went, what would you get? And the next thing you know, I'm on my way home and I'm writing notes. And by the next day, I had a little proposal for Brian, a thing called Darkstars. And it was really a mashup of Green Lantern and Martian Manhunter. And Brian liked it, and we tweaked it. And Brian was a great editor because he always said, if you pick the right horses, you can just let them run.
Yeah.
And that's what he did. He made sure you were firmly in the saddle. The horse was fed, everything was cool, and then bon voyage.
That's the way to do it. As an editor, you wanna have people you trust who have been doing it for a while, so you're not going to get a script and be like, this doesn't make any sense. I have to rework the whole thing.
Right.
So that's what it takes as an editor to go and make sure that the book is getting done on time, and getting done right, most importantly.
Yeah. And you really respond. I think people respond to a sense of trust. The more responsibility you give them, the more responsible they'll be.
Of course.
And so he was very good at that. And so we started publishing Darkstars, and we started it with Larry Stroman for a few issues. He had been doing Alien Legion and doing a great job. So he was there for a few issues, and then he kind of went incommunicado a little bit. So we got a guy named Travis Charest. Now, Travis was a Canadian artist who's also become terrific. I don't know if you're familiar with his stuff, but great.
No, I
It's
haven't.
Great.
I haven't seen his stuff.
And a little bit like influenced by Jim Lee.
Okay.
And so he did Darkstars for a while. And then we had all kinds of artists after that. Like I say, we had Zurcher, Diodato did covers. Who else did we have there? Guys, I'm sure I'm forgetting. But eventually we settled on Mike Collins, who was a veteran and had done other work for DC, and he was great. He was there Darkstars ran about 40 issues, and he was probably there for 20 of them.
Oh wow! So he was
So-
like the main artist on the.
Yeah,
He
yeah.
was going for half the series. There's a lot of issues, so
Yeah.
I know that as an artist, you have to live with the work for a lot longer than the writer because you turn in a script and then you can be like, okay, I can go write something else. But as an artist, you're like, okay, I got to do pencils for it'll take a day and a half, and inks it'll take a day and a half, and then colors, depending on what they do, and they got to live with it for quite a long time. So it's crazy.
It's and he was a pro. He was just a pro. He did great, powerful work, and he inspired me every now and then. He said, "Mike, can we do a Kirby kind of a New Gods kind of riff? Can we do a couple of issues of that?" I said, I hadn't thought about it, but yeah, absolutely, that's great. And we had over the course of those 40 issues, we had Donna Troy become a Dark Star. We had John Stewart become a Dark Star. So we were kind of firmly interwoven in the DC universe. And Mike was great.
That's exciting to see, like, all these different characters coming in and like bring them into your own and let them kind of evolve in their own way. And it's cool to play a part in that,
Yeah. It was great. It was great to be part of the DC universe. I mean, it's a pain in the butt, frankly, in some ways, because you got to communicate with the editor who's in charge of. Oh, I wanted to put Hawkman in. Well, now we got to talk to the Hawkman editor. Is that all right?
Yeah.
Where's he going? What's he doing? What's he not doing? What should we stay away from? But ultimately, it was a lot of fun because you were part of the DC fabric.
Of course. And just like you get a chance to work with like these iconic characters that are huge and get to kind of have put your own piece of their story in. So that's really exciting.